for every project, you will see a screen like this. Let me show you what are all things. So first thing is the changes. So if there is any change I'm doing inside the build, I'll be able to see it here. And next is the workspace, right? So before going into the workspace, in the actual mission, I told you when I run the job, right, there will be a workspace created. So let me show you that. /var lib Jenkins. Previously, when I did the ls-l here, there is no directory called workspace was there. Now a workspace directory has been created. And inside that, I see a first job. There is a workspace directory with my job name. And if I go there, I can see the content of my repo is downloaded, because in the job, I have told it to download the repo. Nothing else I have given. So this would be a normal scenario. So it has pulled in the code, and that is what it is getting displayed in your workspace. Okay. So this is the same directory structure I see in my repo. This is what you are allowed to browse through this repo. Okay. If you want, you can download the file, see the file, all those things you can see. Okay. And next is the build now. This is the option to build the job, run the job. And next is the configure. If you want to modify anything in the job, you can click on the configure. If you click on the first job here, you commit. And imagine if I want to delete the project, I can do it. Or if I want to rename the project, I can rename it. Okay. And for every build I'm running, there will be entry put on here. And this is where I can see the build logs. So this will be coming from the directory. So I showed you a jobs directory, right, before. So inside the jobs, I can see a first job. And for every builds I'm executing, it is going to create a builds directory. You see that there is a directory with the number 1 is created. Inside that, I can see the log. Okay. So this is the console log I'm seeing. So what is happening inside the job, I'm able to see that here, right? And build.xml, this is where the configuration coming into picture. So whatever I have done inside the job, I can see the configuration here. So when you want to migrate a job from one place to another, you can literally move this directory, the first job directory, to another Jenkins server. The job will be available. So you need to ensure that all the plugins are available. If you migrate the job, this directory to another Jenkins server, it is equivalent to migrating the complete job. Okay. So these data are coming from these files. So for every build, the build number will be generated, and inside that you can see the console output. This is where you are going to see what is happening inside the job, right? So it is saying it is using the Git and it is pulling the particular repo. So if there is any issue with the job, this is where you have to come and do it. Okay. And if you want to delete the particular build number, you can do it here. And if there is any changes, you want to see that. This changes represents the change in the Git, right? When you basically you give a commit message, right? So the commit messages, you can see it here. Okay. So if I rerun the job again, let me run it again. So there will be a new build number called 2 will be created. And if I go back here, I can see there is one more directory called 2 created. Inside that, I will have the respective build log and other steps. So if I check the console log, I can see, so it is just pulling that. If you see this repo, it is having 5 different microservices. For every microservice, I have a form.xml. Okay. So this is where it is going to talk about what is the artifact ID. Okay. From where it has to pull in that, and it uses a Maven. Okay. And it needs Java 1.8 and all those steps. Okay. All the dependencies are defined here. So based on this Maven file, I want this to be built using based on the form.xml, I want this to be built on built using Maven. Okay. So in my Jenkins, I told about in the global tools configuration only, I am going to put it with the Maven. So let's see that example. So let's go to manage Jenkins and then click on global tools configuration. And I'm going to add a JDK and I'm going to call it as, I'm going to name, basically, I want JDK 1.8 to be installed. Okay. Not only Maven is needed, I also want the JDK because I want a Java compiler to compile the code. So whatever I have installed on the machine is a JRE. It doesn't have a compiler with it. So I'm going to install the JDK. So let's do that. So the name, let me call it as JDK 1.8 without any space. I'm just going to call it as like JDK 1.8. So the name of the JDK is 1.8. And then in the drop down, let me select the JDK 8 and the latest one, 8U221, and click on I agree. Okay, and then JDK download needs a Oracle account. Okay, so I have an existing account. I will use that. I'll share that to you guys also. So if you just right click on it and open the link in a new tab. So let me share the, so I'm adding JDK 1.8 and the version should be Java 8U21. And I agree that, and then enter the username and password. And like the same way, if you scroll down, I may also need to add Maven. In the Maven, name it as MVN3. In the drop down, select the latest Maven. So you can also add multiple Maven versions and you are allowed to choose it. Let me do that. So let's say MVN2. And then let me select the 2.2.1. So in Maven, I'm adding 2 versions. In the same way, you can add a JDK. Part as JDK 9. Let me call it JDK 9 and use the latest one. And I agree. So let me repeat. In the JDK, I'm adding 2 JDKs, JDK 1.8 and JDK 9. And then Maven, Maven 3 and Maven 2. I'm naming it as MVN 3 and MVN 2 because I will get an option in my job once it is done. Let's see that. So let me save this. In the global tools configuration, I have added 2 versions of JDK and 2 versions of Maven. Okay. So let me come back to the job, click on the dashboard, come back to the job and click on configure. So now you can see in the general section, I see an option to choose which Java version I should be using to build the job. Okay. Previously, this option was not available because there are only one Java, that is my system level Java, that is JRE. Okay. So there, select the JDK 1.8. Okay. So as I added the global tools, it is reflecting here. And in the build step, click on invoke top level Maven target. Okay. There it is going to ask me which one to use. Let me use the Maven 3. And in the goal section, so if you go back to that thing, there I have given the build command. So let us use the API gateway. So the API gateway, the goal is clean package. Clean package. But my POM file is available inside a particular directory. Normally in the repo, it will try to find the POM file in this location itself. So I need to say that my POM file is inside the API gateway. So I'm going to say POM file is inside API gateway. API gateway slash. So in the build step, so first in the general section, I'm adding it to choose JDK 1.8. And then in the build section, I'm adding a invoke top level Maven target. In the drop down, I'm choosing Maven 3. And the goal is clean package. And I'm saying the POM file is, you will see that option in the advanced. When you click on advanced, you can see that option. There I'm specifying my API-gateway. Okay. So let me save this and let me build now. And I will show you the console output. If you click on that, you can see a shortcut to get the console output. You see, it is going to my Oracle account, Oracle, and downloading the JDK for me. Automatically, it will do that for you. You don't need to specify anything. So coming back to this, so it is installing JDK. And after that, you can see it is downloading the Maven 3.8.1. And then it is running the Maven command that is downloading all the dependencies from the Maven Central. And I should see a build success message. Okay. So in the job, after build is completed, if you refer the workspace, inside the API gateway, I see a target folder. This is not available in my source code repo. Inside the target, there are two things I want to highlight. One is the jar file. This is the jar file I'll be using for my deployment. I should be archiving it. And then in the surefire report, I will see a XML. So this is also executing a test case as part of it. So the test results are showed in the XML format. Let's see how do I publish the test result and also the archived artifact. So that is what we are going to see. So in the first job, let me configure two post build options. One is archive the artifact. Okay, so there I'm going to provide which file needs to be archived. So I know that. So this is inside the workspace. It is under API gateway, right? Under target, the file name is star.jar. So I can give the file to archive is API gateway target star.jar. So this is the first entry I'm going to provide. Okay. So out of the build, I'm just taking this jar file to be used in the future. That's what the archival step is all about. Next is I'm going to publish my JUnit test result. So the test result are inside surefire report. And this is the XML. I can give API gateway /star.xml. Yeah, I'm publishing my test report. Okay. So this will be able to understand the XML. Okay. There I can give the health report amplification factor. That means 99% of my unit test case should be successful. Then only I will consider this as a failure. So that is that 1.0 means. Okay. So if you say that, okay, out of my unit test cases, let's say I have 10 unit test cases. I want 9 to be done. So I will give it as like 10. Okay. So this is what we are going to do. So two things, archive the artifact. I'm going to archive the jar file. And in the publish JUnit test result, I'm going to publish my XML file. Let me save this and let me run it now. So if I refresh the page now, you can see it is showing a test result trend, and also I don't need to go inside the workspace. The file which are archived, okay, I'm able to see it here. I can download it directly from here also, right? So this is the advantage of archival. So even if the workspace is cleaned up, I can see this, and this information will be available under my builds directory. So I'll show you that. So let's say CD4. You can see there is an archive folder is created. You can see the file there. So this is the file there. Even if I clean up my workspace, this will be available under the build directory. Okay. So if I run it again, okay, if you see the fifth one, it will show the latest archived file here. But if I go to the specific fifth one, the jar file under the fifth will be different from the jar file under the fourth. If you have a different code. For every build, this will have a different content. So in the jobs directory, so yeah, it will be inside the build number. Okay. So double dot. So ls, so 4/archive/ gateway target. There I see this file. Right.
Oh, it's build number, right? So
yeah, with the build number, you are going to get the difference. You see that it was created at 431. The same thing, if I run it with the build number 5, the file size may be the same, but the timestamp is different. So within the build number, it is going to store it. So when you want to come back and say, I want to go back to the previous version, you can get the archived file from that particular build and you can use that. So this is the use of archival rather than keeping that in the workspace. Based on the archival step, it is doing that. That is what the archival step is majorly for. For every build, it is going to maintain a different version. Okay. And you can see there are 2 test results and both of them are passed. So I'm giving it. So you can create a graph for the test reports.